I just recently shared how I changed up our foyer in our new house from a dumping ground for packages to an inviting, warm, and cozy space. Today, we are in our dining room that's located right off of our kitchen. And as you can see, it's very plain. Nothing has been done, just the walls primed and the floors installed. And it's time to give this space a makeover. Hey there, my name is Yami. I am your Latina next door. Welcome back to Mi Casa. So, yes, this has been the space that we've been using in order to eat all of our meals as a family, and I absolutely love that it is right off of our kitchen. What you see me doing here is wiping down the walls, making sure there's no extra dust before we start painting them. Now, to give you a point of reference, our dining room is to the left of our foyer in our home. And along with not painting any of our walls, we still hadn't caulked any of our window frames or our door frames or our baseboards or any trim that went up on the walls. So that's what you see me doing here. And honestly, we were fine with that. We knew that if we waited to get all the stuff done before we moved in, we wouldn't have been able to move in when we did. And it was more important for us to get into the house and then just finish these rooms one by one, like you see us tackling them here. This was also another one of the areas where we saved quite a bit of money as far as our build is concerned. We know how to caulk, we know how to trim out, we know how to paint, and this actually saves us thousands of dollars as far as, not having to hire anyone out to do any of this. If we can tackle this on our own, one room at a time, it's just going to save us a lot of money in the end. And that to us was, just more important than getting it all done before we moved into the house. All right, so before we go any further, I do want to give you guys an idea of what I'm going for in this space. Now, I'm just going to be using the things that I already own, the buffet I had in our last house, as well as the dining room table and a mirror. Now, for the walls, I would love to add paneling and trim and everything. However, we won't be able to do that in this video just because I just don't have the time before the baby comes. And honestly, we can do that down the line. I do plan on adding some really tall floral drapes because I'm really into the floral drapes these days. And I do plan on adding a chandelier. However, I still have not found my chandelier that I packed up from the last house. But I'm not giving up because I know I packed it. It's got to be here somewhere. And I honestly don't want to buy a new chandelier and then find it later and then not be able to return the chandelier that I bought. So that's kind of where we're at on that. So after all of that prepping, we are back to painting. And yes, I am back up on the scaffold. And let's talk about the scaffold for a minute because I think I freaked everybody out when I shared that I was on a scaffold when I was doing the foyer painting. Trust me, this is so much better and safer for me than going up a ladder, painting, climbing down a ladder, moving the ladder, then climbing back up again on the ladder, painting, going back down on a ladder, and then scooting it over and over again. The scaffold is safe, it's large. I'm able to tackle much more wall space at any given time. And Nelson is always right there in case I need him to move or make any adjustments. And usually I can just shimmy myself over and, move myself where I need to go. But yes, I am completely safe and I feel much better having both feet on such a big landing when I am painting instead of something like a small ladder or a small step. So, yeah, I feel perfectly fine up here. So yeah, I tackle all of the cutting of the walls up at the top first, and I do the entire room first, and then I come back down to the floor, and then I finish the bottom half. And so this works for me. It's really efficient, it's really quick. Here we're painting the walls the same color as the foyer. It's again Sherwin-Williams Symmetry lightened by 50%. And yes, it is low VOC paint. Then, of course, after the walls have been painted, it is time to paint all of the trim. That's the trim around, any of the doors, windows, and the baseboards as well. Now, I absolutely love this window because it gives us an amazing view of our front yard as well as our neighbors' cows across the street. and it gives us so much sunlight during the day. However, the sun rises in front of our house, and the sun in the mornings can be crazy bright, shining right in here and blinding us all. Which brings me to talk to you about the sponsor of today's video, Smartwings. They have over 15 years in the smart window treatment business, offering a variety of different shades like roller shades, zebra shades, wood shades, and even outdoor shades for your patio area. What makes Smartwings shades so great is that you can hook them up to your smart home, or you can also use the remote like we do. These shades offer a variety of ways to power them, like solar or rechargeable shades. And we were so excited to install these in our home. Now, SmartWings has the ability of making pretty large shades, which is why I decided to go ahead and go with one large shade for these three windows side by side. It'll make things so much easier and cleaner, in my opinion. Now, Nelson and I are really old school, so we went with the remote option. We don't have a smart home, and we absolutely love how nice and sleek it is. We also went with the rechargeable shades. You can even see the charging port right here. Everything you need for install is provided, and the instructions are pretty simple to follow. Now, you can either mount these inside or outside of your window frames. Since our exterior walls are 2 by 6s, we decided to go with inside of the window frame as you see here. So if you are curious, I did go with the color Kenaf and I chose 70% blackout. I wanted protection from the sun, but I didn't want it to be completely dark when closed. I did add curtain rods because I wanted to add some drapes to either side of the window to dress it up a little bit more. If you notice, we didn't go all the way up to the ceiling, mainly because if you notice, we don't have any crown molding in this room or at all in the first floor. And eventually, I would love to add crown molding. So I wanted to leave that space up there for the future for when we have it in our budget to go ahead and do that. It also helps because it allows me to buy a little bit shorter drapes so they won't be as expensive in the future. And for this, I went with a linen blend, very neutral colored curtain with neutral florals. I would love to have something a little bit more Christmassy or wintry, but since we're trying to complete as many rooms as possible before the end of the year, that's something that's just going to have to wait for now. I'm so happy with how the window and the window treatments turned out together. I think they look very nice, and just the fact that I can open these and close these with literally just a push of the button is so convenient. Right now, Smartwings is having their Black Friday sale, and you can have 10 or up to 15% off depending on your qualifying purchase. I have a special link in the description box below for you to check them out and get yours today. Now, I was happy with that. However, the walls on either side of the window were looking a little bare, and I remembered that I had these mirrors from our previous home. They were actually in our living room in our last house. However, during the move, they kind of got beat up, and the paint job that I had done previously on them was coming off. So I thought this would be a great time to give them a refresh and update their look. Now, this was a look for less that I did quite a few years ago, and it was back when Ballard Designs had the brown versions of these mirrors, but they still have the white version. So I thought, why not do that and let them kind of pop up against the beautiful beige walls. I ended up doing 3 coats of white paint for this just to make sure I covered everything underneath. And then once they were nice and cured, it was up to my husband to put them up on my wall for me. And I'm so glad I went ahead and did this because I really did feel like it needed something on both sides of the window. And the best part is that they were free because I already had them and I already had paint on hand. Now for the other wall. If you guys recall, back in Vlogtober, I shared that I had this mirror in the corner for a while, and I wasn't sure whether or not I should use it above the buffet that I had in the dining room. And I did listen to y'all and take your advice, and I am using it for this dining room space. Also, if you remember the little bench that I remade last month for one of my thrifted flips, I had put it in my foyer, but when I redid my foyer and gave it the grand makeover that I just shared, I decided to put a chair here instead. So I had this little nook in the dining area, and I thought it would be perfect to fill in a little bit of space in there. Now, obviously, I want something to put on the table to kind of bring in the feel of Christmas and just enjoy the season, right? However, I can't put too much stuff on here right now because we do use this table every single day. Like we eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, you name it. So I needed something that I can easily remove from the tabletop. And I remember I had these beautiful lanterns again from our house in Georgia. And I thought these would be perfect here again because if I have to remove them for us to eat, they'll be easy to take off. So I cleaned them up and then I added these little picks that I bought from Walmart. They were very inexpensive. And again, I'm just keeping it very simple. Also, my toddler loves to get on the table and loves to pick at anything that I have decorating it. So if I add too many embellishments like berries or anything else, they'll probably like be gone before the end of the day. So I decided greenery is fine and she's left those alone. I also decided to include this little table runner that I bought from Hobby Lobby last year from their after Christmas clearance sale. It brings in that touch of red and it has those cute little jingle bells on either side. And now there's so many more things that I wish to do to change up the space and to actually finish it out, but here is where we are as of right now. Now on the wall where the buffet is at, I still do plan to add sconces, however they are covered up right now. And I would really love to actually have a huge hutch on that wall. That wall is pretty large and I think as far as scale is concerned, we can do with something a little bit bigger down the road. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that as well as your thoughts on the wall on the opposite side of the room, which is this one right here. It's pretty bare, there's nothing on it, and I think it needs something, so let me know if you have any ideas. And of course, I am just relieved that we got another room done before baby number 5 arrives. I really do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give this a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below what you think of this space. I'd like to thank Smartwings for partnering with us on this video, and if you have been thinking about doing some smart blinds in your home, definitely check them out with my link below because again, they're having their Black Friday sale right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't seen my foyer transformation video, definitely check that out. And I will see you back here on the next video. Until then, adios!